One of our devotees who have been listening to our videos has raised one very valid question, and we are going to discuss about that only today. The question he has raised is, you are saying that the ultimate reality is formless, nirguna. If that be so, then why we should be worshipping the vigrahas? Why we should be going to the temples? There we are only worshipping a form. So is it not contradictory? Or is it superstition that we are doing? This is a very, very valid question. It needs to be addressed scientifically and properly. That is why today I have taken up that subject for discussion. The ultimate reality, as I have been telling repeatedly, is formless. That ultimate reality, which is a field, force, consciousness, energy of infinite capacity, is what we call as Parabrahman or Brahman. That Brahman, when it takes shape in the form of various relative realities, whether as an animal, human being, tree, insect, or even a sand, it becomes a jiva or an atman. It is a manifestation. Atman is a manifestation of the Brahman. It has, in essence, the same quality of the Brahman. The scale of this manifestation ranges from being a deity, that is an energy knot, like Agni, Vayu, Indra, etc., to a sand particle. The capacity or the level of manifestation varies. Therefore, its quality, its ability is different. A sand particle cannot do what Agni can do because the level of manifestation of the Brahman is different. But in essence, it is the same. While it is the best thing to worship the ultimate reality, the Parabrahman, because if we want to have a self realization or God realization, we have to realize that ultimate reality, the Parabrahman. Therefore, while it is true that it is better to do a sadhana or puja of the Parabrahman, the problem is it is not possible for all the people to do so because our mind is tuned to knowing a name and form, not to something which is formless or nameless. It is beyond our capacity to comprehend and understand. Therefore, the human beings, without even knowing, meaning unknowingly, they have started worshipping the relative realities. For example, for ages, we are worshipping the trees like Ashwatha tree. We are worshipping animals, whether it is elephant or a cow. We are worshipping several rivers, mountains. We are worshipping young children, in the name of Badaga Puja. We are worshipping ladies in the name of Sumangali Puja. We are worshipping elders. We are worshipping so many manifested realities. We are worshipping land. We are worshipping so many other things during festival days. This is in our custom. So we have willy nilly understood the fact that the Parabrahman, the ultimate reality, resides in all the relative realities, though we have not understood the science behind it. But in practice, we are doing it. This is like if you say electricity, it doesn't have a form. Can you see electricity? You cannot. But the electricity, when it takes the form or using that electricity, if some form is getting formed, like a bulb or a fan or a refrigerator, you are able to see. In essence, the refrigerator, fan, bulb, and electricity are the same. The difference is one is having a form, another is not having a form. But truth is, the form is maintained or supported by the formless. Electricity is a substrata on which the electric equipments are resting upon or relying upon. Similarly, all the relative beings like human or animals or all the things that we may talk of is resting on the substrata of the Parabrahman. Now, as I said, it is very difficult to worship the formless Parabrahman. So we have to create a method, the Rishis thought, by which it is possible for the normal people to fall into the practice of sadhana. For that, they thought of a method. That was this worshipping a form, Saguna Puja. The formless puja is called a Nirguna Puja. This is a Saguna Puja. In this Saguna Puja, what they needed was a name, a form, an energy knot, a method, and the technique of the energy. The name and form they already had. The name is what we have been discussing, what they have given to the various energy knots on the basis of their functions, like Agni, Vayu, Varuna, Indra, etc. Now, the form of these energy knots we have discussed, they have already developed through the Dhyana Sloka. That is how they have already developed the form for these energy knots. Now comes where to create this energy knot and how to create this energy knot and how to sustain that energy knot so that it is available for all the people. These three major questions arose. They started attending to this and they came out the brilliant scientific solution. First, they wanted a material on which this energy can be stored because Agni is an energy, Vayu is an energy. We can see Agni in various ways, but here the Agni is not the flame. Here the Agni is the Agniness or the fireness. We have to understand between what is manifested and what is manifesting. If you say human, we can understand it is a person, but what is behind him is humanity. So, what has to manifest is humanity. That humanity is manifesting as human. Similarly, what needs to manifest is the nature of that energy, not. That will be a pure energy, and that has to be stored somewhere. And name for it is already there, and a form for that is they already identified in the Dhyana sloka. But where's to store? After great search through their internal wisdom, intuitive knowledge, and with God's grace, they found out that there are certain metals and minerals in which this energy can be stored. The metal they found out was copper and panchaloga, and the mineral they found out is that granite. So they found these two things are capable of absorbing the energy that it comes in contact with. So now they have found out a material also to store. The next thing comes how to transfer this energy not into this material where it is going to be stored. That is where the Veda mantras comes into the picture. The Veda mantras are the true power centers. Whether there is a material or not, whether there is any image or not, the Veda mantras, when they are uttered, recited, that energy is automatically getting created. This is the essence of Veda mantras. That is why when Veda mantras are recited, an energy not is getting created there, which anybody can partake and make use of. A sect of the Indian philosophical doctrine is called Mimamsa, where they reject God. They only take the mantras. They say mantra is God. Even the Bible says the word came first. God created the word, and from the word came the world. So, mantras are the ultimate energy creators. In the modern science, they have proved this. In Japan, they used sand particles, minute sand particles, and when they started reciting these Veda mantras, quite surprisingly, the sand particles arranged themselves in such an order which tallies with the image visualized by the Dhyana mantra of a particular energy knot. For example, when they recited the Agni Suktam, the image that formed by the sand particles was exactly in tallying with the Agni image created by the Dhyana sloka. Similarly, when they recited the Mahagayatri mantra, the image was tallying with the Gayatri Devi. So, in other words, the mantras are the real energy creators, and when they are recited, that energy is getting created there. Now, if this particular energy retention material is kept nearby, that energy is getting absorbed by this material, whether it is a vigraha made of stone or made of metal. We have found a solution now to create the energy and retain it there for public good. Once this has been identified, then the process of doing this was identified through the system of agama. That is, how and what procedure this creation of energy, transfer of energy, and retention of energy has to be done. And depending upon the need, what energy has to be created, whether it was a Devi energy or Vishnu energy or a Shiva energy or Agni energy or a Surya energy, it was left to our choice. And that was created. And the Vigraha was created. And through the Agama system, it was installed. And the system of temples came into the being. Now, once the system was established, what happens is, if anybody goes into the temple or into the radius of the energy that has been created, unknowingly there is a rub off effect and we are getting benefited of the positive energy stored there. It is like if you are going into the open air, you are feeling, you are breathing in fresh air instead of being confined into the house, or if you are instead of being in a smoky area. Like that, if you go to the temple, you are yourself inhaling unknowingly a positive energy. That is why when we go to the temple, many people say that I feel very relaxed, my worries are coming down. That is because there is that energy stored there. Therefore, worshipping in a form is making it easy for us to absorb the positive energies to conduct our day to day life. But we must know what we are worshipping there is not the image or the stone or the metal. What we are actually worshipping there, or what is making it worshipable, is the mantra. We are actually indirectly worshipping the mantra. The mantra has been made into a form and we are worshipping the mantra in a form. But we must keep it in mind that this is only the first step. This is not the last step. This will help us in shaping our thought process, shaping our life process to get into a spiritual mode. But the ultimate thing finally has to come to realizing the ultimate reality. But this ultimate reality can be realized through any relative reality, provided we understand that this relative reality is actually representing the ultimate reality. There is nothing, no being, no thing in this world which is not representing the ultimate reality. We have to use all these things as a pole vault. Assuming that we are going for a pole vault high jump, without using the pole vault, you cannot go to a big height. Therefore, pole vault is a must. But after going up to the jumping off point, if you are not willing to give up the pole, how will you be able to go over to the other side? You'll be just falling on this side itself. So at some point of time in the pole vault game, you have to leave the pole and jump to the other side. This Saguna Puja is also like that. The Saguna Puja is the pole of the pole vault game. This Saguna Puja pole is required for us to jump. But once we have realized, and once we have practiced, and once we have learned, we have to leave this pole and go to the pole, cross to the other side, leaving out this pole. That is, we have to go to the Nirguna Puja. Ultimately, our idea and desire and requirement is to realize the ultimate reality, Parabrahmam. But for doing that, there are several methods, and this is a first and easier method. And our sages wanted everyone to be partaking in this exercise of God realization, and for that purpose only they created this system of temples. Temples are very important storehouse of spiritual energy. In addition to that, there are several other benefits of a temple. In the olden days, the kings created it for a lot of other purposes. But in fact, there is an entire economic system that was woven around a temple. But we will restrict our discussion to the spiritual aspect of it. Now, a temple is a spiritual center for any common man to make a beginning in God realization. But that is not the end for God realization. If he can understand sitting there that he is worshipping the formless ultimate reality, good, he has already crossed. In fact, for that, he need not go anywhere. He can sit simply at home and realize the God. That is what the Nirguna Puja. But since, as I said, it's not difficult, not possible for all the people, the Saguna Puja has also been incorporated. The greatest proponent of Nirguna Puja, Adi Shankara, himself has composed so many Saguna Puja slogas. Why? He understood the need for the common man to start with the Saguna Puja and go to the Nirguna Puja. So, in the Saguna Puja, whatever we are worshipping, the image of Vigraha or temple are very powerful, equally valid, and they give immense benefits to us. And it is a must for everybody that they go to a temple. It can be a nearby temple, to any temple, at least once in a week, so that they get recharged. They get recharged spiritually. They have to recharge their soul. They have to recharge their consciousness. They have to recharge their divine power. Every person is having a divine power. That is what is sustaining him. And it has to get recharged. And the right place for that is the temple. A small example can make it clear to you. Take a cow. A cow is yielding milk. What is milk? Milk is something extracted from its blood. That is only getting converted into milk, and we are taking it from its udder. But since the milk is nothing but blood, you cannot extract it from its horn or a tail. It is best extracted from the udder. Similarly, for common man, while the God realization truly has to happen at an appointed place, though for a jnani, it can happen anywhere. One can extract the godliness or the understanding of the Supreme Spirit. It can happen from anywhere. For the Vallalar, he saw it in a small plant. Buddha got that under a tree. So many people have got it from a mountain. So that God realization can come from anything. But for the common man, as a practice to enhance its spiritual powers, these temples are the power centers. It is like going to an oxygen parlor to inhale good oxygen. Therefore, worshipping Vigraha is in no way inferior to worshipping a formless God. While the ultimate aim is formless God, these are all the stepping stones. As I told in earlier one of the lectures, if you have to show a star, pole star, to a child, you have to start showing it from the nearby tree. The mother will show the top of the nearby tree and then tell the child through that nearby trees top, look in the sky, you will see the pole star. Similarly, to show the ultimate reality, formless reality, our sages have created this Saguna form realities so that we are able to move forward. So, this Saguna Puja as well as Nirguna Puja both are valid. Nirguna Puja may be difficult for common man. Saguna Puja is easily possible for everybody. Therefore, a Saguna Puja is a good place to start with. Therefore, the answer to my friend who raised that question is they are not contradictory. The ultimate reality is like electricity, no form, but its usage is happening in a form of told you bulb, etc. Therefore, nothing wrong, and in fact, you should start as a common man with the form, that is the temples, and from there you go to the ultimate reality. Om Namah Shivaya.